Good morning. Thank you for coming. Today, the Orange County District Attorney's Office filed a 21-page civil complaint alleging unlawful and unfair business practices against Biologics, DaVinci Biosciences, Andres Isais, Estefano Isais. Those are the defendants. DaVinci Biosciences is jointly owned and operated by Andres Isais, Luis Isais, and Estefano Isais. Two of the three owners, Andres Isais and Luis Isais, also own and manage Biologics. The two companies share the same office space, employees, and management. There's no separate accounting of the financials of the two companies. They're both located in Yorba Linda, and the accounting and revenue expenses for both companies are 100% commingled. The Franchise Tax Board forfeited DaVinci and Biologics powers, rights, and privileges in July of 2015 and November of 2014, respectively. This is an unlawful, unfair business practices case filed under California Business and Professions Code, Section 17200. Since this lawsuit is the first to be filed with respect to this particular subject matter, I'll explain the applicable law, what facts led us to filing this case, and the remedies that we're seeking. There's a lot of material, so I want to thank you in advance for your patience. This office is continuing to investigate and develop this case. All of the evidence that we're using in this case was put together by the District Attorney's Office. This case is not about whether it should be lawful to sell fetal parts or whether fetal tissue research is ethical or legal. We're simply charging these defendants with illegally selling hundreds of fetal tissue products for profit. Let me talk about the applicable law in this case. Regarding fetal parts, the sale of fetal tissue products for valuable consideration is illegal under both California and federal law. It's against the law to intentionally sell human body parts, it's against the law to intentionally sell human body parts for profit, including fetal tissue donations obtained from abortions. For purposes of this section, valuable consideration excludes reasonable payment for a list of things. So they can make reasonable payments for removal, processing, disposal, preservation, quality control, storage, transplantation, or implantation of the parts. The term human fetal tissue is defined broadly to include any tissue or cells obtained from a dead human embryo or fetus. The term tissue is also very broadly defined to mean a human cell or group of cells. Embryonic or cadaveric fetal tissue may be donated for research purposes pursuant to this chapter. We've charged the following. From 2009 to 2015, the defendants obtained aborted fetus donations from Planned Parenthood and turned those donations into a profit-driven business. They did so by selling tissues and cells from the heart, lungs, kidneys, brain, intestines, skeletal muscle, and bones of the aborted fetus donations. The companies advertised and sold these, what they referred to as prenatal products, from 2009 to 2015. And they sold them to companies all around the world, earning hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. The defendants pressed onward year after year in an attempt to beat their competition and increase margins, just like any other profit-seeking enterprise might seek to do. Indeed, rather than limiting their income on these sales, the defendants intentionally set their prices as high as possible in an effort to maximize their profits. Sales and marketing staff were hired, paid commissions, and pressured to push sales in order to meet increasing revenue objectives and expectations. They were encouraged to offer discounts, coupons, sales pricing on fetal products to move inventory more quickly as well. The business was lucrative, To be sure, fetal products were routinely sold at tenfold or higher markup over their costs. The company also charged markup packaging and handling fees, as well as shipping fees, so as to earn a little extra profit on every sale. It's estimated that the company sold hundreds of different fetal tissue products for valuable consideration in violation of the law. Each unlawful sale is a separate act of unlawful and unfair competition under California's Business and Professions Code, Section 17200, for which civil penalties and injunctive relief are warranted and are hereby sought pursuant to this complaint. The timeline is as follows. In early 2009, DaVinci Biosciences decided to expand its business to include a revenue-driven unit, selling products derived from the cells and tissues that they were already collecting, processing, storing, and using for research purposes. They created Biologics for this purpose. A few months later, DV launched its first marketing campaign to start producing sales. According to their marketing plan, and I'll quote, "The marketing challenge for 2009-2010 will be to introduce our products in a politically conscious way, given that the material is both human and in some cases prenatal derived. The challenge will be to form a sales tactics team, infiltrate markets, change existing buyers' outlook and purchasing behaviors, and to make human cell-derived products well understood and appear worthy of the additional cost to purchase them." The company's hired an outside marketing consultant to develop marketing materials, including a catalog to support their sales, and they posted the catalog in 2010 on the company's website. Prenatal products of fetal heart, brain, lungs, kidneys, liver, large intestine, small intestine, skin, skeletal muscle, and bones were offered for sale. Most products were priced somewhere from $300 to $700 per vial, when the products were produced at about $20 per vial. From one fetus donation, DV created dozens of different types of prenatal products and hundreds of individual units of each product type and that were produced for sale in these vials. DV was able to do so with a limited number of labor hours, ranging from about 2 to 9 labor hours per product, and at very minimal costs, usually less than $20. DV maintained an inventory of products in stock in 1 or 2 refrigerated locations provided by DaVinci Biosciences until sold. Between 2009 and 2011, sales revenues nearly tripled as the business started to take shape. According to their business plan, sales increased from 50% in 2011 from 2010. The DV product catalog had grown to greater than 48 pages for 2011-12. By the end of 2011, DV had 13 worldwide distributors in place, and the majority of its revenue was earned from international sales. According to their 2012 business plan, the Defendants' 3-year goals were to infiltrate the cell-based market, be a major competitor by hiring commercial representatives and/or a dedicated sales marketing person, increasing the amount of marketing and the number of distributors throughout the world, and taking advantage of the internet, distributors, newsletters, educational presentations, and direct marketing sales. Management set forth these directives with the, and I quote again, aim to increase sales yearly by no less than 30% each year for the next 3 years. By 2012, DV had over 500 products in its inventory with some 13,900 units available. So the inventory, they valued at more than $4.4 million. A new regional sales manager was on board in early 2013. The Defendants then implemented a 2013 sales launch plan to further increase sales, and their goal for 2013 was to generate $550,000 in gross revenue by the end of 2013 by hiring sales managers, prospecting, general leads, and securing sales. From 2012 to 2015, products were sold to pharmaceutical companies, academic institutions, and distributors, both domestically and in countries around the world, including Japan, China, Singapore, Korea, Germany, Switzerland, Spain, Australia, Netherlands, Canada, and the United Kingdom. In both 2013 and 2014, the company grossed in excess of $400,000 in revenue, which was double the gross revenues earned in 2012. In 2015, DV continued its upward momentum and reached its earlier goal to exceed $550,000 in gross revenue. From 2009 to 2015, the defendants also collected almost $57,000 in packing and handling fees, which was marked up about approximately 50% over the actual cost of packing and handling, and they paid also commissions to their employees for packing and handling fees as well. As a reward to its employees, they paid commissions on the profits that they earned from packaging and handling in 2013 to 2015. In setting prices for their prenatal product sales, DV ignored both federal and state laws that restrict earning valuable consideration entirely. There's no attempt whatever to limit the prices charged in any of their prenatal products to only reasonable payments that would be allowed by law. Indeed, there's no separate accounting for any such allowable charges conducted to support the prices DV charged on these prenatal products. Instead, the majority of sales prices were arbitrarily set based on the market value and what they thought other potential competitors might charge on similar products. Prices were also intentionally set as high as possible to leave room for other discounts and to negotiate a lower price so as to ensure a profit on sales even with discounts, such as 20 to 30% discounts for distributors, 10 to 15% discounts for first-time buyers, 50% discounts for bulk purchases. The company also regularly offered sales. They had pricing promotions for sales, including, for example, a 25% off summer sale, a 25% off fall promotion in 2013. Sales staff were given wide flexibility in using discounts in order to close a sale, because they all knew they still ended up on top. As a result of the pricing structure and the various discounts available, the same product was randomly sold to different customers at different prices. The highest prices were typically charged to U.S. customers and educational institutions, while the deepest discounts were offered to international distributors in countries all around the world. This illustrates the boldness of their unlawful profit-making business scheme. Sales personnel knew that they were making money on sales even despite large discounts. For example, in 2009, a 2009 email states that it cost roughly $25 a unit to manufacture, and we're selling for $170. Same lady said offering a 30 to 40% discount price will leave us with a marginal profit of $94 to $77 per unit, and if they increase the discount to 50%, they would still have a marginal profit of $60 per unit. For example, a July 2014 email states, $1,000 gross, 1,000% gross does not seem unreasonable based on infrastructure and the lack of competition. DV's company records show that they know that there's a substantial profit margin being earned on the prenatal product sales, most of which were selling at a profit margin of 70% or more. Here are some of the profits per fetal part. Heart, up to $674 in profit. Liver, up to $233 in profit. Stomach, up to $221 in profit. Small intestine, up to $664 in profit. So at the conclusion of this lawsuit, we will seek to obtain, on behalf of the citizens of Orange County, civil penalties, restitution, costs, and an order enjoining the defendants from further violation of California and federal laws concerning the sale of fetal tissue. So much of the information that we've obtained to file this lawsuit comes from the defendants' companies as documentation turned over in response to subpoenas that we sent them. We don't expect this to be an easy case, but this district attorney's office has a long track record of handling serious and complicated consumer protection cases, and we believe we're going to continue our commitment to fighting consumer fraud, and this will just be another case. If there are any questions, I would try to respond.
Can you clarify this part about the Franchise Tax Board cutting off the power of rights and privileges? How does that figure into the case?
Right. I mean, basically what that means is that their right to do business in California has been suspended by the Franchise Tax Board.
Can you identify the source of their product?
Pardon me?
Have you identified the source of the product that they resold?
The source of the product?
Yeah,
Yes, donations from Planned Parenthood.
Is that legal?
It's legal to donate. The question is whether or not it's legal for Planned Parenthood to donate fetuses, and the answer is it is. Yes, they can't sell them for a profit, but they can be donated. Yes.
Did they do that on a regular basis?
Yes, it was pretty regular. Some of the evidence indicates that that the people from DV were making trips maybe a couple of times a week to pick up fetuses.
Either directly or indirectly. Planned Parenthood involved on this case?
Could you repeat that, sir? I'm sorry.
If Planned Parenthood, it is behind directly or indirectly on the sale of these fetal issues?
Planned Parenthood made donations to these companies, and other than that, that's as far as we know, that's the extent of their involvement.
Is it legal?
It's legal to donate fetuses. Yes, it's legal to donate fetuses for research purposes. The answer to that is yes.
Money was never exchanged.
Between these companies and Planned Parenthood, our evidence indicates no, money was never exchanged between these companies and Planned Parenthood. For example, in an attempt to buy fetuses.
The $400,000 to $500 in revenue, is that directly from the sale of products? That's in addition to the packaging charges?
Yes, the revenue that we've described here is directly from the sale of the fetal tissues. There was substantial other revenue that these companies made, but this is just revenue from the sale of fetal tissue. Yes, sir.
As I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's fairly routine for Planned Parenthood to make these donations to science labs for research and that sort of thing. That was the idea behind it. As far as you know, they weren't aware that they were going out there to make a profit.
The question is it routine for Planned Parenthood to donate? My understanding is that yes, it's routine for Planned Parenthood to donate fetuses for research purposes, and in that process, they have consent forms that the mothers sign to allow that. So right. So we're not indicating that Planned Parenthood did anything unlawful.
Were they unaware that they were, after they were donated, that they were being sold for profit?
We don't have any evidence that they were aware that any of these fetal tissues were being sold for profit. We don't have any evidence that Planned Parenthood was aware that these fetal tissues were being sold for profit.
Again, your interest here is not that they were sold, but that they gained excessive profit from the sale. Is that true?
The violation here is not that the fetal tissues were sold for research purposes. The violation is that they were sold for profit, and the law allows the fetal tissues to be sold, but it limits what they can be sold for, and there's a list of reasonable expenses that the company can pay or can charge for, expenses of like the necessary expenses to prepare the tissue, to make it ready to put it in a vial, to remove, to implant, things of that nature, those kinds of costs can, if they're assuming they're reasonable costs, those can be charged to the buyer. But profits, no. Profits over and above that are not allowed.
Do you know what these other companies were doing with the tissues that they acquired worldwide?
The question is, do we know what these other companies were doing with the tissues that they acquired? No, we don't. Certainly a variety of things. In general, research. But other than that, I mean, we haven't done an extensive investigation to determine what all these other companies might be doing with those products.
So these companies,
There's any possibility that in the future you will present a criminal investigation against these companies? Is your client committed here?
Well, we looked at that question as to whether or not what we're seeing here is criminal, and certainly it's a violation of the law, but the law doesn't provide any criminal penalties for this particular violation. So we brought it as a civil case.
did these companies stop operation when the Franchise Tax Board stepped in, or are they currently operating as of this week?
Well, I wouldn't be able to tell you as of this week, but I can tell you for sure that they did not stop operation because the Franchise Tax Board took away their privileges.